What happens when a man discovers that he can time travel by simply looking at a picture? Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we will be watching the 2006 science fiction, psychological thriller called The Butterfly Effect. So sit tight, turn on the subtitles and spoilers ahead. The movie begins with two couples sitting by the side of the lake, reminiscing about their love and having a good time. Nick is a very romantic boy deeply in love with his girlfriend Julie. Another couple is Trevor and his girlfriend Amanda, who are more of a talkative and quirky couple. After enjoying the lake for a while, Nick and Trevor, who are best friends and office colleagues, leave to gather some wood to light a fire. In their absence, Julie tells Amanda a secret that she has not yet told Nick. Just then, the boys arrive with the wood and light fire to stay warm. Amanda and Trevor manage to surprise Julie with a cupcake to celebrate her 24th birthday. The group seems happy and content as Julie finds it difficult to make a wish, claiming that her life is perfect. To keep this special moment locked into their memories, she sets a camera on a rock next to them and captures a picture of themselves enjoying the getaway. A moment later, Nick blindfolds Julie and takes her to their first dating spot where he gives her a beautiful necklace. Julie then goes on with telling Nick something that she had been keeping from him for a while, but just then their conversation is interrupted when Nick gets a phone call and is urgently called into work. When Nick tells Julie that he has to leave, she gets upset and insists Nick not leave for work. However, Nick convinces her that he has to go to the meeting because this could lead to his promotion. Julie agrees on the condition that Nick spends a week alone with her later without his cell phone. Finally, the four friends drive back to the city, berating Nick on their way for ruining the weekend. Julie, who is an aspiring artist, unlocks her seatbelt to capture a cute photo of Trevor and Amanda kissing. All of a sudden, one of the Jeep's tires bursts, and the Jeep skids along the road. Nick manages to control the wheel to avoid the Jeep from crashing. However, a truck collides into the Jeep, resulting in a serious accident. The scene cuts to Nick on a hospital bed where he starts experiencing a hypertensive attack as the memories of the accident crosses his mind. His mother tries to calm him down. Soon he gains consciousness and asks his mother about Julie the first thing after opening his eyes. His mother informs him that unfortunately Julie and his friends didn't make it after the accident. Eventually, Nick falls into depression and keeps drowning in it. After getting out of the hospital, he keeps looking at Julie's stuff and remembers the time he spent with her. One night, while drinking, he listens to a voicemail from his mother who requests him to be punctual with his doctor appointments to avoid headaches. While listening to the voicemail, Nick looks at a photograph of himself and Julie. All of a sudden, both of them in the photograph start moving and everything in the room begins to shake. Nick becomes worried as he also starts bleeding from his nose. The scene cuts to 1 year later, when Nick is seen making copies in his office. It turns out that his co-worker Dave ended up getting the promotion, and now the boss is over Nick to piss him off. While presenting an important sales presentation to investors, Nick initially aces it, but towards the end of it, he suffers an extreme headache and nosebleed after looking at a picture of his colleagues on the projector. He flunks the meeting, and as a result, his boss Callahan suspends him for a week so Nick can get his head straight. At home, Nick feels bored and takes out Julie's camera to go through her camera roll. He goes through the pictures of the last weekend they spent together before the tragic incident. As usual, he starts having a blinding headache. However, to his surprise, he finds himself able to transport himself back to the moment just before the accident. Since he knows what is going to happen, he asks Julie to put her seatbelt on moments before the tire bursts. He then quickly moves the car away to avoid its collision with the truck. Later, he wakes up in a new timeline with the same blinding headache. But to his surprise, Julie is now alive and living with him happily. At first, he does not believe his sight, but after touching Julie, he starts kissing her like crazy and can't believe that he got the love of his life back. Julie asks him to get ready for her birthday dinner. At the dinner, Nick tells her that he has been living a version of his life without her. Julie assures him that it must have been a nightmare and that things will turn out to be better. Just then, Trevor and Amanda show up at the dinner, and Nick is elated to see them alive. Trevor asks him if he has made preparations for his bachelor's party, and Nick is surprised to know that his best friend is getting married. At home, Nick and Julie passionately make love together. The next day in the office, Nick keeps searching the internet about the possible brain illnesses that he might be suffering from. Just then, Trevor approaches him in his cabin and starts chatting with him. They find out that Dave has called for a meeting. In the meeting, Dave announces that Trevor has been terminated from the job due to poor performance. Nick backs up his friend and stands up for him, and as a result, Dave ends up firing Nick from the job too. Trevor insists Nick apologize to Dave to get his job back, but Nick refuses to join the office where he will never be promoted. At home, Julie argues with Nick about losing his job. During the argument, she gets emotional and brings up that she lost her baby in the accident. Nick assures her that he will get another job and that they will plan a baby soon. At night, he randomly sees a Christmas photograph of him, his friends, and his colleagues. He realizes that this was the time at which a deal was made that ended up in Dave's promotion. Using his time-traveling power, Nick focuses on the photograph to transport himself back in time to alter things in his favor. A moment later, he finds himself back at the party where he deliberately spills a drink on Dave to distract him. He then goes into Dave's cabin and steals the documents for the important deal. The scene cuts to Nick returning to a new timeline where he is the vice president of the company. He finds solace in bossing around Dave, who is merely a sales representative at the company. Moreover, he is overwhelmed to see that he now owns a convertible BMW and lives in a luxurious apartment. Expecting Julie to be at his apartment, he enters it, but is amazed to see the sky-high view and high-end lifestyle. Later at a business dinner, his boss Callahan asks him to brief the investors about the new project. Nick confidently gives an impressive sales pitch that leads the investor to invest in the project. Later in the bathroom, Callahan's daughter, Grace, approaches Nick, asking him to make love to her. It turns out that Nick and Julie split up, after which he has been dating his boss's daughter. This is the reason he has been promoted to the vice president's position. Nick returns home and finds Trevor beaten up in the parking lot. Trevor informs him that one of the investors, named Malcolm, with whom they locked a deal, wants his money back due to a lack of results. Nick assures Trevor that he will take care of the situation and that Malcolm will not attack him again. Trevor thanks him, after which Nick asks him about Julie's whereabouts. Trevor finds it strange, as Nick told him last time that he is done with Julie. The following day in the office, Nick requests Callahan pay back the money to the investors who are threatening Trevor with his life. Callahan breaks the news to Nick that they are broke and cannot pay anyone. Nick is surprised to hear it, as he thought he made a successful deal on Christmas. Callahan tells him that the deal was a failure, which is why they are drowning in loans. Nick realizes that the deal was actually made by Dave and not him. Later, Trevor asks Nick if he is working on returning Malcolm the money, and Nick lies to him that he is taking care of everything. At night, Trevor calls Nick to a club where they are supposed to meet Malcolm. In the club, Nick unexpectedly meets Julie and is surprised to see her new job, but more so her new boyfriend. He tries to talk to her while she is busy capturing photos of an ongoing fashion show. Nick apologizes for everything that went wrong between them and requests her to give their relationship a fresh start. However, Julie does not pay his requests any heed, as it turns out that Nick had cheated on her with Grace. Nick tries to tell her that she means the world to him and that he loves her dearly, but Julie isn't ready to listen to anything. She always thought that Nick manipulates her using his salesman skills, so she only taunts him and leaves. Nick then goes to meet Malcolm, who owns the club, and tries to renegotiate with him by giving him 10% of the money they owe him. This infuriates Malcolm, and he smashes Trevor against a glass table, killing him in the process. When Nick tries to escape, he runs into Julie, and mistakenly, one of Malcolm's armed henchmen ends up shooting Julie instead. Nick loses his wits upon seeing Julie dying, and he tries to travel back in time once again, but Malcolm's henchman catches him and knocks him unconscious. Later, Nick wakes up in the bedroom with Malcolm's business partner and tries to fight him. In the ensuing struggle, he ends up killing him and escapes. The scene cuts to Nick meeting his mother and telling her everything that is going on with his life. His mother tells him that he is just like his father, who also wanted to control everything. When Nick insists on meeting his mother reveals that his father committed suicide years ago. It turns out that his father also had the same ability to travel back in time and control things, but things didn't work well for him. So Nick's mother insists he consults a doctor to avoid having the same fate as his father. Later, Nick asks Amanda to bring him an old photograph of them from the weekend getaway. Amanda keeps asking Nick about Trevor's whereabouts, but Nick does not tell her that he is dead. He then goes home and travels back in time to the weekend getaway to fix everything from the start. But this time, he breaks up with Julie, telling her that she should go to New York to pursue her career. This upsets her, and she reveals that she is pregnant. Angry and upset, she takes Nick's car and speeds away. When Nick returns to Trevor and Amanda, He is surprised to find out that Julie has left in his car. Fearful that she will meet with a similar accident, Nick decides to go after her. He sees a couple nearby enjoying the weekend, so he quietly approaches them and steals their car to find Julie. On his way, he tries to talk to Julie, telling her that he loves her and that he made a mistake. However, Julie does not listen to him and keeps speeding. Nick finds another car approaching them at full speed. To avoid the car from colliding with Julie's, Nick drives off the road and over a cliff. Sometime later, Julie is seen living in New York City with her son, whom she has named Nick. The baby seems to have the same superpower as his father when he is seen staring at a photograph weirdly. The film ends with a number of flashback scenes where an old man, presumably Nick's father, is shown dealing with mental illness that resulted from the time traveling with each use. With that, we'll end this video. But before you leave, please comment down what you'd like to do if you were given this power of time travel. I hope you all liked this video. If yes, then make sure to like, comment, and most importantly subscribe to the channel for more movie recaps.